No, Matt, no, I will not be singing in this intro because I'm upset that we recorded this last night and my audio messed up. And so here we are again. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where Matt and Todd talk about a movie from Netflix, and then you listen to it. And hopefully, our recording goes well, and we don't have to do it multiple times, and all that jazz. I begrudgingly am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and my audio did not mess up, but we can still record again. It's all good. Yeah, so we will be talking about a movie for the second time in a row, but you'll only hear this time because the other time is lost to the mists of time.
No, it exists on my computer. It just isn't good.
Well,
I'm keeping it just to I don't know, make me upset every time I look at it.
it's good. Well, all that to say that we strive for quality here at Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, so we will
True.
we will do this again to provide you, the loyal listener, with a pristine copy in sights
Here's
and
hoping.
sounds. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be reviewing a movie called The Vanished tonight, and this movie is, I guess it came out last year at some point. And there are a few people in it who are somewhat famous. You've got the two main characters are played by Anne Heche and Thomas Jane.
Mm-hmm.
They they
Yes.
they are Wendy and Paul, which are the two main roles of the movie. Um,
Thomas Jane also is my still my favorite actor who's played the Punisher. Just in case you were curious.
I was curious. I was thinking to myself, which actor who's played the Punisher is Todd's favorite?
Uh, the wild choice. It's seconded by Dolph Lundgren, who
Okay.
played the Punisher in like the early '90s movie.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so then you've got a couple more people. Jason Patric plays Sheriff Baker,
Yes.
and I think that is it for people that I recognized. What about you, Todd?
Well, as we discovered when we recorded last night, there's another person who I recognized, and I'm ashamed of how I recognize him. Is Peter? How did we land on saying his name? You were doing a good job of it.
Fasinelli. Peter
Fasinelli.
Fasinelli.
Peter Fasinelli. That you wisely told me is the writer and director of this movie, which I didn't know,
That's true.
which was a phenomenal tidbit
Yeah.
that I just kind of stole from you and put it out there.
It's good. You gave me credit.
Yeah, he plays Carlisle in the Twilight movies, which is like the dad vampire from the Cullen home, I should say.
Yes. Thank you.
Hashtag Team Jacob. I'm Team Jacob all the way.
Yes.
So
Well, thank you for giving some context to which character he was in Twilight. Because you said
yeah,
Carlisle the last time we recorded, and I was like, I don't remember a vampire named Carlisle, but I'm just going to let it drop. But the dad, yeah, I got that. So,
you should have been like, I don't believe you. There's no Carlisle. I've seen those movies. What are you trying to pull here?
I mean, I have seen those movies, but, you know. Well, anyway, so Peter Fasinelli, excuse me, plays Deputy Rakes to
Deputy Rex.
Jason Patric's Sheriff Baker. And I think that's it for notables on this cast. So what is the movie about? Well, it is a movie that's set at an RV park. So um, Anne Heche's character Wendy and Thomas Jane characters Paul, char- Thomas Jane's character Paul, pull up at the beginning of the movie in an RV with their dog and their daughter, and it's Thanksgiving time, and they're getting away from normal life by driving away in their RV. And so,
Taylor is the name of the child.
yes, thank you, Taylor. 10-year-old Taylor is the daughter. Um, and so, pretty quickly after they get there and they start getting set up and everything, um, Taylor goes missing. And that is the main plot setup for the movie is that Taylor is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Wendy and Paul are obviously frantic. There's a couple more people that are then introduced, including Sheriff Baker and Deputy Rakes, playing sheriff and deputy roles in the search for
Mm-hmm.
Taylor. And then
Baker and Rakes,
Baker and Rakes. Yeah.
new on NBC coming soon.
Right. And then you've got another couple next door, Miranda and Eric. They're in the RV one lot over, and they
Mm-hmm.
provide their help at points. They're shaken up by the disappearance of Taylor as well, and then the other two sort of characters who are in it a bunch. There's like the owner of the RV park, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's like a not a caretaker,
Gr-
like a maintenance man,
groundskeeper.
groundskeeper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maintenance.
it's like a 20s year old kid who seems to have some kind of problems. Put it that way.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, all these characters are also involved in the search for Taylor, and there's so the police, led up by Sheriff Baker, are searching around. This RV park is on a lake, and so they're kind of searching all around the lake and stuff. And then Wendy and Paul decide that the police aren't doing a good enough job, and so they're also going to go out and search in the woods. And so they go out and search in the woods in the middle of the night. They sneak away, and then another time they sneak away with their neighbors Miranda and Eric, um, and they go out on the lake in a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And both times that they kind of evade the police and go out, some significant plot points happen, um, and bad things happen to them that increase the stress on Wendy and Paul of their missing
Mm-hmm.
daughter, and their sort of level of anxiousness and um, feelings of guilt rise as well. So.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's a few kind of twists through this movie I'm not going to touch on, but at the end of the day, you find out what happens at the end, but I'm not going to tell you what
Yes.
that is. So, uh, what did you think of this movie, Todd?
Well, I have to say that maybe one of the benefits of having to record this twice is that maybe I can be a little bit better in my review this time around because I felt like I was a little all over the place last time. But this is a hard movie to review because the strength of this movie and the absolute really good thing about this movie is the twists and turns. Like, um, even so much that like for most of the movie I was thinking this was a really bad movie. I was like, these people are not acting well, something's I just thought it was a really bad movie, and then lo and behold I just was played for a sucker. Like I just got got drawn in and chewed up and spat out, and
You got
the movie got
you
me.
got blindsided by a good movie that came out of nowhere.
I know. It just took it straight from me. So yeah, so I definitely would recommend this movie to anyone. It's hard to touch on the things that I really liked about this movie because they're so wrapped up in the twisty turns, and I definitely do not want to ruin it for anyone. But most of what I thought was happening in the movie, or most of what I thought was just bad acting or something, all plays a part in what's actually going on in this movie. So I was really surprised by that, pleasantly surprised by it. Um, so I think, yeah, if you don't have a problem with suspense movies or anything like that, some parts are pretty suspenseful in this, and you looking for a good old, I can't remember how long it was, maybe an hour and 50 or something, hour and 40. Um,
It's close to
then
2 hours,
watch this
but
movie.
less than.
A little less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
You got a little less than 2 hours to kill. Crank on the old Netflix, put in The Vanished, and get swept away. So I support this movie. I thought it was good. Um, Obviously, if someone watches it and they want to slide us a direct message to talk about the ending and stuff like that, we would love that. So, oh, also shout out to Colleen Smith, who has been giving her reviews on their movies on our Facebook, which has been great. I've been very much enjoying seeing how she uh, reviews the movies. Although I did kind of call her out on the Outside the Wire review where she gave it a 5, and I was like, "This is the perfect movie," and she said no. Maybe she had to rethink some life choices there. So
Well, she's
that's gonna.
she's not a professional podcast reviewer like we are, and we know that you can't just give a
That's
movie
true.
a 5. I mean,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
then there's
That's
nowhere to go from there.
right.
It's like
You can't reach the pinnacle so fast.
it's like giving Burger King a 10 out of 10 on your rating system.
Just
You
unbelievable.
can't do it.
Brian Siemens, so unbelievable.
Right.
So I'm gonna leave my review there. I support this movie. It's not like, it's not gangbusters or anything, but I thought it was really pretty well done and pretty good. So I support it. You should watch it if you got time. Matt, how did this movie stack up in the Malloy household, which I assumed you watched by yourself, or maybe you didn't? I don't know.
Well, I did for most of it.
Oh.
My wife came in at a certain point, and I told her she wouldn't like the movie because she wouldn't. And I'll explain
And she
why.
took it as a challenge.
But she only came in right near the end of the movie, and then she left before it
okay.
even ended. So she was. It was mostly by myself.
Gotcha.
So I kind of agree with your general thoughts that at the beginning of this movie I was like, this is not very good, and I don't think I'm gonna enjoy this. And at the end of it, I was like, wow, that was pretty decent. I enjoyed how that turned out. So that's my overall thoughts first. A couple things that I will point out that I found interesting. The first thing was that there's a scene right at the beginning where Paul, Thomas Jane's character, is getting ready to take his daughter fishing, and he puts on his fishing hat. And you think of a fishing hat, stereotypical, like kind of a floppy hat, like maybe a camouflage type canvasy material that has some fishing lures on it. Okay, this wasn't that. This did have fishing lures on it, but it was I think it's a fedora. It was some kind of more formal hat. It was purple with like a band around it, and it's shaped, and it has fishing lures all over it. So I found that really distracting in that one scene. I was like, what? Who has a fishing hat that's a fedora? But
Distracting, but also majestic.
but also majestic. Yes, it made me want to have a fishing hat that is a fedora covered with lures. If I ever had a fishing hat, which I probably never
That
will.
never gets used. You just use it as a conversation
Yes,
starter.
it's like a coffee table hat. It just sits out. And you're
Yeah.
like, ah, my fishing hat is out for no reason, but admire its majestic beauty.
Uh,
Well, anyway, so that was a minor part of the movie, but a major part of
uh,
enjoyment for me. Um, Something else I'll say about this movie, though I did like it, is that it is a stressful movie to watch, and not just because uh, there is, sort of this thematic material that is a little girl has gone missing, someone's daughter is missing, um, but there are multiple occasions in this movie where one or more people has broken into or snuck into a place that is a private place that is not their private place. That is
mhm.
a breaking in scenario. And that's why I told my wife that she would not like it because she hates that when it happens in movies. And it happens a lot
Mhm.
in this movie. So, if that
But
bugs
now,
you,
does she hate it because it's just suspenseful to her, or does she hate it because she's like, "That's not your property. What are you doing?"
I think it's more that that type of action makes her really uncomfortable. And so
Oh, okay.
it's suspenseful and uncomfortable at the same time. Um, so,
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest. If my kid went missing, I'm checking everyone's thing. I don't care who you are. I'm coming in, whether or not you invited me or not. I'm checking everywhere.
right. Which
But I understand
it,
that kind of suspenseful stuff
it sort
is
of seems strange
nerve
in
wracking.
the plot of this movie that the police don't just check all the structures, like check all the
Right.
RVs, check all the the house on the property and all that stuff. And I feel like that would have been a good place for them to start, but they didn't do it.
Well, we don't second guess Baker and
Baker
Rakes
and
here. I
Rakes,
mean, they've been at this for a long
yeah.
time, maybe.
So, but yeah, I think I land about where you did. If you're looking for a good suspenseful film with some interesting plot twists, yeah, check this one out. It's worth it if you don't have a problem with people breaking into other people's places.
If you don't have a problem with general breaking and entering,
Yeah,
then you're good to
yeah.
go.
For our friend Ed, if he's listening, there is some head trauma in this that you'll want to avoid. So,
Yes, yeah.
um, yeah. Anyway, that's my review of this fine film.
On a side note, Ed did message me today to say he was a little disappointed that for the last movie for Good Burger when I was pointing out that Linda Cardellini was in it, that I didn't reference that she was in the first two Scooby Doo movies as Thelma, which is so she was like, he was like, that's where I knew her from.
Well,
So
he also messaged me today to say that he was a little disappointed that uh, I compared it to the sophistication of a Scooby Doo episode. Speaking of Scooby Doo, now he didn't say that exact thing, but he was not happy with our review of the feel good burger flipper. Good
yeah.
burger.
Well, we're not here to please everyone. We're here to give our reviews.
That's
So
right.
yeah. So I believe what I said last night. I'm going to keep it the same. Is how many fishing lure fedoras are you going to give this movie? 0 to 5, Matt.
Yes. Excellent. The majestic purple fishing lure fedora. Um, I'm gonna go with that my My premise here is this is a good movie, and I'm going to go 3.3 fishing lure fedoras out of 5.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to be landing on 3.8 with the caveat that I think this might be the first movie that we've watched that I'm feel like it's sometime in the future I'm going to watch again because I want to kind of, I don't know, watch it with more eyes open,
Mm-hmm.
like now that I know everything, and just kind of like could increase my rating, but I don't know. But I don't think I can say that for any of our other movies we've rated. So
Well, I look forward to hearing your revised rating off the air
yeah,
after you watch it again.
I'll share it, and I'll share it with anyone who asks
Mm,
what I thought about the second time viewing.
there you go.
Yeah,
Well, obviously, we would never share it on our podcast, which is our gut reactions to the movie, not our gut
right.
reactions to watching the movie again.
True.
Unless it's a movie that we've already watched before.
Yes.
So, complicated rules a little bit for our podcast, but we know what they are.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's
It's more like a moral compass
yeah.
more than it is a
Yes,
moral code.
we follow the compass of
Yeah.
podcasting and morality. So that's gonna wrap up this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed the movie The Vanished.
The Vanished. Matt, I forgot to mention to you that I think last week they had the iHeartRadio podcasting awards, and I regret to inform you that we were not nominated for
What?
any of those.
Unbelievable!
or maybe it's stuck in the mail that we were nominated. I don't know.
Wow.
You can't trust the mail right now.
The
So,
postal
but
service is still overloaded for some reason.
yeah, the awards have happened, and I haven't heard anything. So I'm assuming we didn't win or get nominated.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you never know.
yeah, they're probably just tried to contact us, and they don't want to reveal it too early.
It's true.
Well, anyway, so the this movie, The Vanished, we gave an average rating of 3.5 fedora covered in fishing lure hats out of 5, which is a good rating.
Mm.
So go ahead and watch this one.
Yes.
And before we completely wrap up, I will reveal that our next movie that we'll be reviewing from Netflix is called Homefront.
Home front.
Home. That's a very Baltimore accent. Did you know that? Home.
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 Come on, hun.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this movie is about a widowed father looking for a little peace. But
Mhm.
even in a small town, violence sucks him in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can't get away. You just can't get away.
So yeah, this is Jason Statham, as I think we discovered last night, and possibly that
Yes.
you've already seen this movie.
I definitely think I have, but I also know that this movie has been on Netflix for a while, which is the only reason I've watched it. So I wish there was information that we could get. What made this movie go into the top 10? That it's been on Netflix for a long time. It didn't just drop. I know that.
Yeah.
What happened, world, that made everyone go, you know what? We gotta get some Homefront in. I gotta itching for some Statham.
Well,
So
one thing that it may clear it up is the image, Todd, that is of Jason Statham riding a horse next to his daughter, also on a horse. That
mm.
may be what sort of has catapulted this into the top 10 Netflix movies of America.
Maybe people were like, without reading into it, they were like, you know what? I could get behind a movie about horses, dad, daughter, horse
Yeah.
riding. Sounds good.
Yeah. I think that may be it.
We cracked it.
Yep. Take that, Netflix algorithms. Well, thank you for listening to our podcast, everyone. And please continue to listen in the future. And thank you for listening.
Da da da
Da
da.
da.
Da da
Da da
da.
da.